Hey, what's going on YouTube? Sketchy coming at you with another Iron Harvest video, but this time we're going to be covering the building changes and animations that happen when you upgrade a building. So if you enjoy base building, stay tuned, because it's going to be flying. It's going to be rocking. Let's do this.
Too sketchy!
Alright, so starting off, we have the Polana headquarters building. Now, the headquarters for both sides, Polana and Saxony, doesn't upgrade. However, there are some cool little nuances here that you get to look at. For example, the bastion barriers, which is actually something that was used and still is being used in Iraq. I've known this because I've been there. It sucks. It's hot. But there's some cool things going on here. For example, the big tent with the big logo. There's almost like a sniper outlook going on up there with the chimney and the smoke and some storage areas going on as well. There's a desk with paperwork. Like, there's stuff that you see on there that you don't really see when you play the game. For some of you guys. Same thing here for the Saxony Empire. Now, the Saxony is a slightly different faction because the whole approach or design aspect of them overall is more of a modern industrial take on this warlike faction. As we take a look, we have a little sky ceiling going on. We have like a two-story building. There's a little walkway right there. The walkway literally looks like someone could just walk through it, like through this little sub building that's going on. And again, there's like two big massive buildings in there, like a balcony walkway. Like there's a whole, it's a whole thing. It's a whole structure. You know, it's strong. It's metal. However, back to Polana, now we have barracks being built. Now, this whole video, right, when I was younger and I used to play RTS games, I didn't play it for the PvP aspect of it. I played it just because I liked to advance, to progress, to enjoy what it is I'm building, and then slaughter the AI with just a wave of units. I mean, it was the you know, the basic approach of how a kid used to play in RTS. But what I did back then that I don't do now is appreciate all the new little nuances that happen. For example, the 7 tents, a little prop up of the wooden little crate thing that's housing the whatever that is, the gear, the campfire that comes on, the medical little hut that was built. Like you don't when you play in competitive mode, you don't really get to appreciate these things. And I wanted to just showcase some of the stuff to the people that do love this kind of base building aspect of RTS games, because it is something that you lose over time, especially as, again, this is maybe subjective because I do play it in a competitive kind of format. You put it down, you pump out units, boom, you're done, and you forget about what's actually happening. Here, I want to take a second to, you know, give KR Games a little high five like so, because it's great what they've done to some of this stuff. And as you upgrade it, you know, you upgrade the building, and you get to see more touch-ups that they did. For example, there's different types of tents now. There's like a command tent. The medical building is 2 stories now. There's a balcony going on. The gear that was next to the campfire is now inside of the little crated fence area right under the building on the first floor. Like there's a lot of little things that went into this. And again, when you play, you tend to forget. The design aspect of Polana is, I don't want to say it's poor. Don't get me wrong, but it's more rugged. It's more real, and it's something that I enjoy. However, the Saxony buildings are probably my favorite faction, building wise. I don't once they get balanced properly, I'm not sure who's gonna be my favorite faction, but I like them because, I mean, there's a lot of little things going on here. For example, that little training area, these little components that fall down from the sky, showing, you know, the rooms for each soldier that's gonna be coming into this barracks area. Things that are propping up, little barriers that come up from the side. Again, this is very metal, very industrial. It almost reminds me like a rounded, like Space Marines have that like rounded metal feel. It's kind of what this feels like, I guess. The medical, so every barracks has a medical area, which, I mean, is important. I get it. You want to keep your people safe. But there's a little animation pop as well at the end. I don't know if you noticed it. When it boop, it pops like that. I don't know if that's a final thing that they still have to work out. But look, there's a little barrier, like a roadside barrier that goes up and down. It's weighted down. And the stick, like, it's just so many little things. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little component or compartments, all connected by pipes, by the way, which could be like they're either heaters or they're shitters. I don't know what those pipes are for, but I'm gonna guess it's some sort of heating or cooling supply, because those soldiers are supposed to live in those. Maybe that is the toilet. Maybe it's the plumbing system. Who knows? When you upgrade it, it's the advanced barracks, right? the training station stays there. It would be cool if there were actually soldiers shooting up those things maybe in the future. I don't know. You get a 2-story medical building. That's kind of cool. You lose some of those little compartments. Now you have 3, but then you gain a fully structured secondary building, which is also 2-storied. Again, very modern approach, very metal, not heavy metal, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's a cool take on their wealth, I guess you can say, in comparison to Polana, who we're looking at now for the workshop. So a workshop is where you create your mechs. So is this going to be heavy, like a lot of metal influence on this as things are dropping from the sky? You have 2 little huts on the side covering what seems to be some sort of parts. I love the secondary animation of that guy that just fell from the sky, which is sort of like a oven. Like, that's what it reminds me of. It looks like an oven, but it's also like half a mech, sort of like remains of a mech maybe. So again, Polana is a lot more rugged, a lot more, in parentheses, dirty. As you see, there's like not a chimney, but also a smelter. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Sort of a smelter there that lets you put in iron and then melt it down and then probably cast it into something. But you can see that it's a tent. It's not as it's not a metal structure like Saxony has. And gladly they don't take like more damage because whatever, they're a tent. But when you upgrade it, right? So upon upgrading this, you see that mech sort of structure that was there previously now moved and is more advanced looking, but you also see the tent got bigger. There's a there's a wooden structure now that's held up like a weight of some sort. I don't know what that's for, but it's also supporting a beam that's holding up a tent. Like, there's a lot of it's like MacGyver came over. It's like, yo, I got you guys. I'm gonna build a tent. Don't worry about it. Here's some duct tape and some gum. But when you upgrade, when you build a mech, things actually happen to this. These are the only buildings that actually have an animation cycle when you do something to the building. So I would actually like this mech thing, whatever it is, to pick up actual iron. Maybe have some iron piles right there when it's picking up. Instead, it looks like it's kind of just eating dirt. But I love the fact that there is something like that, because it kind of it showcases that people actually rely on mechs, not just in combat, but even like in daily lives. Like, you use mechs to gather iron. You probably use mechs to help you, farm up the crops. You use mechs to fight off the Germans. Like, you use them every day in this historical timeline, I guess you could say. But back to Saxony. So again, my favorite structures come out of Saxony, and this is by far probably my most favorite building in the game right now. Not only because of the animations that happen as things are falling from the sky and things just kind of settle into place. There's a little electrical box that comes out after the ceiling drops. So the ceiling goes boop, there's an electrical box on the side. I don't know why I like that so much, I just do. The animation pop happens to this as well. The little metal ramp kind of just pops up. So everything kind of changes towards the end of this, like that. This is a big change, but maybe they'll get fixed. Look at the little metal ramp that leads up into the door. Then the generator right there, the gears laying on the side, and that air vent, and a little electrical box, the chimney on top, the recycle bin right there. I don't know what it is, but when you upgrade this thing, it looks even better, and this is probably my favorite building by far. All the little nuances, the piping, the generators, the cooling, heating, whatever the hell it is, all those little tiny units on there, I love it. There's one thing, I mean, we are in alpha, so things are going to change. When you put a mech on build mode, this thing right here, that needs to change. That needs to come straight down, man. And I know we're still early and that's probably gonna get fixed, but that, and then there's a little pulley system. I feel like this needs to be like right here. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's doing there. It's probably just an error. It doesn't really matter. Icy Grim comes out. Go ahead and keep walking, buddy. And then all the little, like, the piping, everything's laid out so nicely. This is by far my favorite building. It seems like it's something that you'd see on an everyday basis. Like, it seems like it will come out of today. We've probably built it nowadays. Anyways, moving on. I'm so stuck with that building. We have Polana's iron mine. So the iron mine is pretty cool because you actually get to see it in action as it gets iron for you. It goes down into the ground. The pulley system pulls it back up. It goes into the little slider, which goes into a secondary slider, and you can actually see the outcome of it. There's a pile of rubble, of rocks, right there. Everything's right in front of you. And then when you upgrade it, everything kind of just stops when you upgrade it, so hopefully that'll change. But when you upgrade it, it's a lot more intense. Obviously, you have tons of little metal boxes going into the ground, coming back around, dumping it into a slider, which that slider now redirects the dirt into a generator of some sort that kind of vibrates very slightly, and that goes into, again, a slider that crumbles up or smashes down the rocks into finer rocks. Like, it's cool, man. Like, if you look at these things, there's a lot of thought that went into those guys, and it's all compact into like a little 1x1 or 2x2 square, whatever. Moving on to the Saxony ones, has the same system where, you know, it'll scoop it from the dirt coming back up, but it's more like literally a scooper. There's a conveyor belt it goes into, so instead of like a slider like Polana has, this has a conveyor belt. And then when you upgrade it, right, when you upgrade, you have two conveyor belts, a much taller scooper pulley system going on over here. There's like a generator going on the side, which got a lot bigger. But that conveyor belt, guys, can you please make that move? Can we get that to move? Can we rig that thing up and then actually have dirt or piles of rocks gathering onto that? That would be cool. I'd like that. That'd be nice. Also, moving on to the Polana oil pump. So oil pump is a bit different because it's oil. And you have that red little generator pushing and pulling what seems to be one pump. I don't know which compartment though the oil actually goes into. I'm gonna guess here it goes into that metal tin, the smaller one, while the wooden barrel is probably some sort of resource or gas maybe to keep the generator going, to keep this thing pumping. That's I'm just gonna guess here, don't know, but I'm guessing that because as we upgrade this guy, we have two pumps now going up and down, right? The red generator got a bit bigger to get these guys up and down. That barrel is right in front of us now. It's a much smaller, right? So I'm guessing it takes less resources to do this now since we're advanced. And what's bigger is that iron tin is now, it also has a logo, but I think that that's where the oil is actually going into. It's or maybe that's the pump. Maybe that's the, I don't know. I don't know what part that is. I like it. Tell me somebody that knows how this shit works. Tell me how this works. I don't know. But it's a very similar structure going on in Saxony. So this is the only similarity I think they have is in the oil pump, where it's almost the same layout. And then when you advance it, instead of having two individual pumps, Saxony managed to put two head pumps on one component going up and down. That's the only difference there. Moving on, we have the bunker. So the bunker is cool because you get a free MG unit essentially in it towards the front, and then that's it. It's like a little, it's literally like a little square with dirt on top. That's what Polana has going for itself. But there's no difference. I mean, it does the same as Saxony does. I do want to mention that if you put an engineer or anyone that's different, the arc of fire becomes different. So engineer had a smaller range of fire. If you put an MG unit in there, however, you can see how vast or how different that is. It's a huge difference. So being able to put the right units in there at the right time is probably really important in the future. Anyways, moving on to the Saxony bunker. Different animation cycle, a lot more. For me, it's intriguing to see what's going on. This thing raises, that comes down. There's a little MG that pops up out of this hole. What I found interesting though is the MG right here that you're looking at is actually super clean. It's super clean. If you build an MG, which I did right there, in comparison to just an MG that came out of the bunker, it's extremely clean, showing off how wealthy, how structured, how much nicer, pristine the Saxony Empire's units in general are. Moving on, we have the medical tent for the Polana. So medical tent is very basic. If you upgrade one of your medical units, you can convert them completely into a medical tent. I like this building in comparison to Saxony. I like this one more. Also remember that this is a retreat point. Also, you can heal them up. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, right? For some reason, this building makes more sense to me. So here's the Saxony one building their medical tent, and for them to build something metal like this in like seconds just doesn't cut it for me. I like it. Don't get me wrong. Again, I like the Saxony buildings, but just aesthetically or narratively, it doesn't make any sense for them to be able to build that so damn fast. That's why I think I like the Polana ones more. It makes more sense to me because it's a tent. It's the middle of combat. You build a tent, prop it up, boom, you're done. You get it? Yeah, good. Anyways, I'm glad we went over those. I wanted to showcase some of this animation stuff that's going on, not behind the scenes, but right in front of your eyes. But some people miss it. You know, as I said in the beginning, during the heat of the battle, you tend to forget what's going on. You tend to just go on and play and pump out as many units as you can. But I wanted to share some of this with you guys. Anyways, I have some updates coming up soon. Stay tuned. Stay subscribed. I'm Too Sketchy, and I'm out. Peace.
Too sketchy.